from someone having their leg bit off, being burned alive, a kid that is life threatened due to some unknown illness, and just trying to solve it through. Takao Ameku Sensei is one that is an expert in solving these unsolved mysteries and just figuring it out through these hints or these clues that she just finds a way to connect it all together. And honestly, the cinematic moments just so fancy, and I love it. This anime, Ameku M.D, Doctor Detective. All right, started this anime pretty late, winter 2025. Here's something I gotta say: it's 12 episodes. I gotta say, I really enjoy it. I like the relationship with some of these characters. Here we have Kotori, who's a resident studying under Ameku Sensei, and also having the skills of karate. Something that I appreciate when they do have like martial arts involved, especially when Ameku puts herself in dangerous cases, which is kind of funny because of these detectives where I would expect them to react pretty fast, but then they kind of just let things slide. But you know, the anime has to glaze Kotori in some way, right? Yeah, Mai, who's in a doctor who's pretty energetic, upbeat, and something I really like. You know, I was like, oh, cute doctor, just really, just bring some some lightness into the show. And then you have Amaku Sensei, who's like the main spotlight of the series, who's solving everything through logic and has a really bad read on people's emotions and such, which you'll see throughout the series, and also just like witty and solves things just quickly through deduction. And then you have Sakurai and his assistant, who's just like usually looks over these investigations and just kind of having that collab with Amaku Sensei and just finding out things throughout these like clues and having like finding out these things throughout the series. Sometimes I do wonder if someone has the answers to the problems when they reach those climatic moments. Something when they throw in like medical terms, or sometimes they throw a bunch of hints where it finally comes together. And something I do enjoy about this anime is where it a lot of times it's throwing these little clues or these hints, and you know, trying to solve it as you're watching the series. Meanwhile, just sitting back and just watching it, but it just kind of gives you like a time to analyze and kind of like trying to solve that mystery. Times where this anime shines is when things get pretty real. A family going through DV, patient is misunderstood, and just a whole bunch of other things. Another is like combustion through like just like fire force anime, and the victims believe that it's due to a curse due to family lineage. There are those that try to hurt Takao Sensei due to her reputation in a way where it jeopardizes her job. And in many cases, Takao Ameku Sensei is someone who solves these situations where it can come across as disrespectful to her seniors. But at least one of them was able to actually recognize that her what she has done has actually served the patient, and also giving respect to her. And honestly, that's pretty admirable. But yeah, there are some subtle details that I really do appreciate. You know, like Ameku Sensei being that detective at times, even though she's a doctor, which actually kind of makes sense because of her role in pathology. And it is pretty cool to see that actually applied, her knowledge, and also that she has an interest in solving these cases. And seeing her skills applied, an example is by asking specific questions to people and seeing their behavior and seeing how they respond already kind of hints out an answer towards her and also us as viewers. Shows proof when they actually show up because of setting those kind of like traps. Soundtrack is amazing when it comes to those climatic moments where it's like solving things through and explaining things, and as well as just like Emeko doing her thing with her, you know, happiness. That's really cute. And I like that they actually shares like some medical terms where, in case someone that actually has a clue of it, me not at all. I'm just like, cool, great, yeah. Just I'm like, yep, I got it, I think, and just Google search it later what that means and all that. When Takao Emeku Sensei has it all together, solving it, the cinematic moment, and just like seeing all the neurons all connecting, just as if all the clues are connecting to the mystery. It kind of sucks sometimes because at times, you know, there's she most of the time she can solve almost like pretty much everything. She has the confidence to do that, the skills to back it up. But sometimes you can obviously tell when, you know, you see this kid who's, you know, going through chemotherapy, and it's rough because you see these kids like bully him, and it sucks because, you know, you see that he's very young and just reaching the end of his life, and these kids feel actually extremely bad even after the bullying. And you know, this kid seeing angels and wanting to atone for their actions, and it's something that really feels human. You know, there's actually it's pretty wholesome but really sad, and seeing how Ameku, who is normally one to come across rude because she can't read like humans' emotions really well or read the room, and she doesn't want to hurt the kid when she was first from her experience from being there first year of it being a resident to being a friend with the patient and seeing that connection and seeing towards the end where she actually shows up and it's actually so sad when you see that like to be but then really good to see that she was finally there at the end for him to be there for him and his last moments. And it's just so sad in this moment too, where it really highlight the anime where it's not always just detective work, but also just like in reality where you value life and it's just a real moment where you deal with difficult times. And the best thing you could do is just being there for them in their last moments, listening to them and comforting them. You see it a lot, at least in hospital work, where at least encountering in the hospital in the ICU or like cancer and blood disorder, and just those times where patients don't have a long life. And so it's something that I do take appreciation for when it takes that step for hospital because that's actually something that's something that not an everyday expectation, or at least not a thought when you're working at a hospital, I guess, from an outside view. But those that work in medical field probably like encounter those kind of things a lot, and building that sympathy and empathy for patients and families. Yeah, maybe bias. I like the opening for Eimer, which surprised me when I heard it and heard her voice. I was like, wait a minute, I know this voice, and as well as like some of the voice actors like Takao Ameku Sensei, who's like Ayane Sakura, and just randomly coming across Jiraiya and Sasuke, and as well as Gara plays the bad guy at times. I enjoy this anime, seeing Ameku hug Kotori to be camouflaged for to be a little sneaky when the police were coming by, and it should have been me, not him. Anyway, I just want to talk about this anime, and hopefully I didn't spoil too much. One of the joys was just finding everything unfold and having the clues together and just having fun, just trying to solve it on my own, even without not even gonna, but have an idea of it, and that's what makes it pretty fun. But anyway, just want to talk about it. Yeah, I have a lot of anime to catch up on. And instead, I'm watching this winter anime. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So see you next time. Peace.